Well, thank you. My name is Cem Hacioglu. I'm the president and CEO of West Africa LNG Group. I'm going to make a reference to Secretary Chris Wright's speech yesterday where he talked about people and math. People component has always been there in Guinea. The continent, the country needs energy, but math didn't work out before. So the biggest thing that we had to solve was the math equation, and the Guinean government was essential in making the math work by putting together the convention agreement, by forcing the mining companies to actually live up to their commitments in terms of building value-added facilities that will require energy source such as LNG was the biggest component. So once the government showed commitment towards that goal, the rest of it was really papering the deal. So that was critical to have the commitment by the government to make the math component work, and the people were always there. I will make another reference to Mukhtar Diop's speech yesterday where he talked about private capital liking or following predictability. One of the biggest problems in Africa typically is lack of transparency and predictability, and capital loves predictability. So the biggest risk is for the situation to constantly change and for investors not to know what kind of an environment that they operate in. So anything that mitigates that, anything that lessens that risk is great. So we've actually tried to solve that problem by working closely with the government, expressing the conditions that will be needed for this project to be successful, to be bankable. So layering different sort of set of priorities, starting with the credible mining companies that can actually put the offtake on the table, and then going down to the retail sectors and other sectors of the economy to use the LNG. So as long as the governments actually maintain the right message and then take actions that support that message, investors feel comfortable. And we worked very closely with the Guinean government, and to their credit, they have stayed true to their message, and they've taken actions that support that message that Guinea is open for business, mining is the main bloodline for the Guinean economy, and they would do everything and anything to make sure that investors are comfortable after putting their money into Guinea. So that has been sort of the biggest success factor for us in terms of mitigating the risk. Again, when we sort of think about what made Guinea work, would make really any place work. Again, it's the people and it's the math. And now, people portion is really across the continent. Everybody needs energy. So no one really in Africa has abundance of energy. Abundance of resources exist, and energy makes those things work. On the math sides, again, like we talked about in the previous question, the government needs to create the regulatory environment that allows private sector to come in. The critical component is private-public partnership. Governments need to come in, they need to give the right message, they need to establish the right regulatory framework, and they need to find the right private sector partner. I have sort of come up with a 4 C's that identify a good private sector partner. A partner needs to be credible, a partner needs to be committed, partner needs to be capable, and finally, and as importantly, partner needs to be caring about what they do. So as at West Africa LNG, we've been in Guinea for many decades, most of us, and we've been working with the off-takers since 2018. So it took a long time, but we're finally getting the fruits of our labor because we're credible, we've been there. So if you sort of follow the same model, it's not easy, but it's absolutely necessary, but it could be replicated in other parts of the continent as well.